A people group is a population as small as a few hundred or as big as several million that share a common culture, particularly a common language. For example, Navajo Indians, even though they live in the United States, are a separate people group from the majority of Americans by virtue of their shared culture and language. According to the Joshua Project, there are more than 1,500 people groups in World A without access to the gospel. The principles of triage dictate that our greatest missionary resources should be directed towards these neediest World A people groups. They're in the gravest spiritual condition, facing the greatest risk of loss. There are presently few or no disciples of Jesus among them. Are we applying proven principles of triage to reach them? Unfortunately, we aren't. Of the thousands of missionaries around the world, 80% of them work in World C, where millions of disciples live and Christianity is already the dominant religion. Another 16% of missionaries are in World B, where Christianity is not the majority religion, but the church is established and the gospel is being proclaimed. That leaves only 4% of missionaries who work among the 2 billion inhabitants of World A. When we study the finances of missions, the disparity is even worse. Only about 2% of the money spent annually on missions goes into World A. Just as our ER resident continued pouring resources into her patient at the expense of the 2 remaining victims, we spend the large majority of our missions resources on people and places that already have the gospel in the church. We rationalize that everybody needs to hear, including unbelievers in America or other majority Christian lands. It's akin to providing Cadillac-style ICU care to a third of the world while withholding the most basic health services to others. By directing 96% of our missions resources to Worlds B and C, we're disregarding Jesus' clear direction to take the message of God's glory to every people group on the planet. Why do we allocate our missions resources largely to places where there are already disciples of Jesus who can reach out to their own people? In some cases, it's a matter of history. Some churches and missions agencies continue to invest in areas where they have a history of successful missionary service. South Korea and Brazil are now missionary sending countries, for example, but still receive foreign missionaries. Many parts of Africa are now overwhelmingly Christian, but likewise continue to draw missionaries. In other cases, it's a matter of practicality. Because of distance and expense, it's difficult to arrange mission trips, especially short-term trips, to the 1040 window. It's more affordable and predictable to travel to Latin America or the Caribbean, where there are real medical and dental needs that can be temporarily addressed. These trips can serve as satisfying first experiences in cross-cultural medical work. There are often new believers. It's important to remember, however, that these lands already have many disciples of Jesus and many churches. Lastly, there is the issue of security. Many of the lands in the 1040 window are openly hostile to Christianity. Disciples who aim to bring the gospel to these areas face higher financial costs and daunting logistical obstacles. They and their families face the threat of disease and the real possibility of physical danger. In short, they face the same difficulties as those who, centuries ago, heroically brought the gospel to us in World C. Reaching World A will require sustained and sacrificial obedience. In recent years, there have been martyrs. There will certainly be more before the work is completed. If we are to accomplish the task that Jesus has given us, to spread a passion for the glory of God among all peoples, the next generation of medical and dental missionaries will have to reevaluate how we deploy our limited resources. Appropriate missionary triage will require commitment to use our best efforts in the places where they are most desperately needed.